Hello everybody, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. I'm going to do a SUPERVIVE duos tier list, as that is the thing I am most comfortable in, and people have been asking what I think is the best, what best 2v2 combos there are, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to do specific 2v2 comps, I'm just going to do based on the games that I have knowledge of and everything like that, and just kind of put that in of what characters are the best. If you guys are interested in, I can do a video separately for the best 2v2 comps that I've realized myself, and go from there. Thank you guys so much for watching the video though, and let's get right into it. So first off, we're gonna go right into Bishop. Bishop's, I think, is a strong character. I think she has one of the higher mobilities and is one of the higher skill cap characters on how you utilize her in twos, as you can get blown up for just going in straight away. Personally, I've been enjoying her going hybrid. She's probably my most played hero right now, and I think statistically, I don't think she's actually in the best of spots right now. I could be wrong though. Actually, now that I think about it, I think she is actually pretty high up there. You'll have a pop up on stream or on screen showing what she is statistically right now. I do think she's actually pretty strong. I'd probably put her at like A+, probably, as I think she is probably one of the strongest A's. We'll go left to right on what I think is strongest, of like going from A+ going down to A-, etc., etc. Bishop being able to move so much around the map, very strong Q ability, allows you to just like punch instant get people and tank your targets right now with Oath and Hudson. We'll get into them further down the road, but those characters are very, very strong right now. So she does do good into that, dealing % health damage with her Q, and yeah, she has a very fast in, does a lot of damage, also is very good at spike potentials when you're flying over the sky and everything like that. Allows you to just kind of AoE shoot missiles around and spike people and knock them. So I've been enjoying her a lot. I think she's really strong. Yeah, so we'll go actually right into a super strong character. We're gonna go out of order here. I think the best character currently in the game, even after his nerfs right now, is Hudson. I think he is like super oppressive, super tanky. I think that he provides a lot of space creation for his team, and in the later zones when it's smaller, you kind of just can close so much of a gap so fast with the distance that you can get from your shift. Also, you're allowed to set up barbed wire traps, and kind of just creates a big issue of like getting onto him, as he does just pump a lot of damage. I do think an overheat mechanic is needed on his minigun, just because it does so much, or reduce the amount of damage that he does on his minigun itself, and then increase the threshold of his pull, that being his ultimate. Once you hit 30, I think it's a 25% or 30%, it pulls you in. I would be down to decrease his damage on his minigun, but buff his ult so that his pull is more useful, and kind of changing how the character is played. But currently, in the early game, Hudson's very strong. The mid game is kind of, I would say, his weakest. I think other characters outscale him, but his late game and early game are just so strong that he can get to where he needs to be so fast that it really doesn't matter. Also, the ground control that you can do with barbed wire is just, it's just super strong. So, yeah. And then we'll also just cover our S's, and we'll just throw Oath in here. I think Oath is super strong right now, just because he is a tank that has a heal, and his heal heals a lot. Also does heal wisps as well, as long as you're on top of them. The really good Oath players that I've seen create so much space for the character and never lose their shield, making it really hard to get in onto people. Also, his ultimate is very strong right now, especially in twos. I'm pretty sure in squads as well. Like the amount of squads I've played as well, I think Oath is super strong. His ultimate ability kind of just makes a lot of problems and creates a lot of issues, and then his heal plus shield combo allows you to just sit behind the shield and just full heal, and then you're just kind of vibing. And then if you ever get close to a wall, you get pinned into a wall, you get chain comboed. His dash movement tech with, like, if you shift jump and fly, you have a lot of ground coverage there. And yeah, just overall a very nuisance of a character. His health shield on his actual shield is just super insane. There's so much by just protecting your other person that's sitting behind them. I have actually seen a Hudson Oath combo, and I think it's super strong. You just shield right in front of him and you shoot through, and the Hudson just never dies. Hey, but that's for a different video when we're gonna be doing combos. But for now, yeah, that's where we are. Going further, let's just go in order from left to right here. We're going to go Brall. I think he's a stronger character. The problem with this character is he's a very high skill cap character. Not that it's a bad thing, not that you can't deal much damage, but in twos, it's very easy to focus the person that is the squishiest. And with sometimes there's lack of buildup. Like if you have your passive empowered already, you're going to be doing a bunch of damage and you're going to one-shot the person that you're trying to one-shot anyway. And you'll probably be able to get resets off and stuff like that. But the value for stuff is not really there for doing the damage as fast as possible versus other characters that can kind of do that same amount of damage but a little bit safer, and you don't have to full commit. I do think he is a very strong character, but because the amount of things that you have to do to build up to get to the point that you have to do that much damage, in my opinion, in duos he's not that strong. I think he's more strong in squads when you can kind of bait people in and look for a flank, like a normal mobile flank, where like he's an assassin style, where you're looking for flanks and looking for kills and stuff like that. I know he's an up in the air character. I know some people think he's very OP. Some people think he's really bad right now. Personally, I think he's just B. He's just the middle. Usually when people are both ways on the character's kind of just there and balanced, and that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, that's where I'm going to put him for B. That's been my personal experience playing with him and the lackluster that I have felt with him. So yeah, we're going to go right into Celeste, another controller character. I think she's pretty strong. I think the only thing that she's like missing kind of sometimes is a bit of damage. Like she kind of feels lackluster in the fact of like dealing the damage versus the other controller who's void. She's kind of like that overtime dealing damage character and kind of doesn't do it enough in twos, where like in squads that ultimate zonage alone is super strong. But a lot of the times that you can get caught out and you kind of just die as Celeste and you don't really do the damage back that you need to be doing. I've played against a lot of Celeste, and it's probably the least threatening character that I've played against. I've played against quite a few good Celestes as well, where they kind of just cut you forever and they never let you touch them, and you kind of just stack up your passive over and over and over and over again, and you just do a bunch of damage. But a lot of the times in twos anyway, her ultimate's pretty useless. Even in end zones, there's usually enough room that you can get out, and there's not enough pressure that you can create onto her. So in this case, I would put her in the lower tier. I think she's probably worse than Brall. She's probably like a B minus, maybe C plus. We'll decide where I put her. At the very end, I'll probably move people around depending on like where I kind of think and seeing everybody laid out and what I think of them. Again, this whole entire tier list is based on my opinion and based on my playtime and what I think is the best. I don't think tier lists are the most important things right now. You should just play what you're having fun with, and yeah, go from there. Next, we're going to go into Elluna. This is another healer. I think she's actually pretty strong. I know she's probably the weaker of the two healers, but recently I've noticed a lot more Ellunas comboed with either like a Shrike or an Oath or a Hudson even, and sometimes honestly even a Bishop, and she's just super oppressive there because she can just kind of plop those heals out, and those characters deal enough damage, but the sustain is just enough. And she kind of just keeps the person alive and kind of can just do her damage, do her roots, set up her roots and stuff like that. I don't think she's a top of an A character. She's probably a bottom of A character right now. But yeah, that's kind of where I think she is. I think she's a strong healer, but not in the sense of doing so much healing. I think she's stronger in the aspect of just keeping one person alive. Like in squads, for example, I'd rather have a Zeph, but in duos, I'd rather have an Elluna, if that makes sense. She's probably the bottom of A, maybe even top of B character. Felix is an interesting character because I think in squads he's really strong, but in duos I think he's kind of lacking, just mainly because of the range. I think he lacks a lot of the range, therefore he struggles, but he's very good for into the heal comps because of his Q, making him a strong character, making him super impressive. He's also very easy to make work. He kind of just fits in because he can get in with his ultimate and he can make room. He just doesn't have range. It makes him a little bit risky. I've been enjoying playing Felix a bunch. Another one of the characters that I've played and put a lot of time in. But I think he does lack range, which is a little bit scary into sometimes. But most of the time, I think you can always make Felix work. You just kind of need to pair him with the proper things. But he might be like a bottom of B character, maybe a bottom of A character. I don't know. He's a weird spot character. But I think he's around there somewhere. Maybe even he's probably in a B, honestly. Elluna's probably better than him. Here we have Ghost. I've played against a lot of Ghosts. There was actually just one Ghost player that just did a bunch. I think he kind of lacks a lot of the things that other characters have, making him not the best tier of characters right now. Kind of doesn't have the damage sometimes, and sometimes he just doesn't just do stuff, and then his nade doesn't hit the wall, or like you miss your nade and then you get gap closed instantly, you're kind of just dead because his damage output is not high enough versus like the other characters that are in the game. He also doesn't really have the range. He does have his, I believe it's his right click, that's like the long line ability that does do a lot of damage if you hit it, but it is a very slow moving ability. So I don't know, a little bit of an iffy character. Next up is Jin. I think this character still doesn't do enough damage. Sometimes I'm gonna move Ghost down. Actually, I don't like Ghost being up in B with them. I think Jin, he just doesn't have enough damage output, though he's very like a very high skill cap character, and there's a lot of like control that you can do with your ult and making duplicates of yourself and going back and forth and all that. For the amount that, again, similar to Brall, but I think Brall has more damage and more like movement and everything like that. Actually, I'm fine with putting Jin right next to Brall. I think these two characters are pretty much in the exact same spot. I think Brall is a little bit better than Jin, but for now, I'm just gonna put him there. I think he's just kind of missing a little bit of damage and a little bit of threat. Once he gets his ultimate, and if you are a really good Jin, you can bounce all over the place and make a lot of space and just kind of insta-kill one person, but you are super squishy. So characters like Felix, Hudson, Oath, Bishop, even Elluna can get away. Like a lot of characters can move you away and stop you from what you're doing, as long as you just, the other person plays plays their shift correctly. So yeah. Now up on the list is Joule. I think Joule's a very good, we're actually gonna move her up top of A. I think Joule's a very good 2v2 character. She's super strong in the early game, making it because you can hot drop onto somebody and just use your dash and just dash on people and just one tap them as long as you hit them with 4 autos. You know, just ping pong all around. And a lot of the items benefit her. I forget what the item's called, but when you're over the in the air and use your dash, you get 1 dash for free, and you can just double dash like that. There's a lot of items that benefit her. I think her items are very strong. She's very mobile. She has her ultimate that makes her completely immune. She can stall a lot of time. There's a bunch of things that she can do. Obviously, if you're not hitting everything, it definitely hurts to play her. And I think obviously these two above right here are very good into her. Oath can stop her dash. Hudson can stop her dash. Any character that can stop her dash, she's very bad into. But she's just so strong early. You can hot drop and kind of get that early lead, get that early 5, and then start snowballing around the map and running around. Yeah, that's where I put him. Kingpin. I think Kingpin is unironically super OP right now. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Recently did a video as well on Kingpin where you can shift and double shoot, triple shoot, or something like that. You can just one tap somebody. You have like an 858 burst or something with using your shotgun jump or shift combos, and you can do I forgot what the tech blade item that I think is called tech amplifier or something that allows you to just cycle your shifts on cooldown, lower that as long as you don't use another ability. And all he does is run around and shifts and just does a bunch of damage instantly and just one taps everybody, making him super strong. Also, I mean, he just has his spike that's really strong. He gets tanky as he fights. He just does a bunch of damage, very hard to deal with, has a lot of mobility to get out. Not super reliant on his pull. Hitting the pull is one thing, but if you try to push into a Kingpin, you just get destroyed if he hits his stun. Biggest thing obviously with Kingpin, he doesn't have the range, but he does just do so much damage. But I'm gonna put him on the bottom of S, just because I don't think he's as strong as these other two. If anything, he's probably top of A, and then these guys are probably in the middle of the pack. But I do think he's a very strong character right now for twos, personally. We're gonna go into Myth. So I recently started playing Myth and picked up Myth. I see why she has like the lowest win rate in twos and top 4 rates and everything like that, and pick rates. She's definitely a harder character to play, but I do see the potential in her. But I do think she's in similar boat as Ghost, where like she just doesn't have that damage output, kind of, or like what you need to do is so much more than what the other characters need to do to get your damage off. This unironically is probably the worst character in the game. I do think she struggles. I think she has a lot of potential. Like if you're a very good player, for example, she could be top of A. She can do a bunch of damage, or top of B maybe even. She can do a bunch of damage and everything like that. But for right now, she's either up here with C or D, where like she just needs too much to get going to do her damage and do it well, if that makes sense. But there is potential there with your ult. Like if you use your ult properly, you can just shoot arrows through, and you might be able to just like one tap somebody instantly. She does have a lot of potential there in that aspect, but yeah. Shiv recently got a buff. I think those numbers actually helped her quite a bit. If you're good Shiv and you're hitting your shifts and your dashes and getting your resets off, she's definitely top of B. I think she's a strong character there, just because she does do a lot of damage now. But if obviously you're missing everything, you're just feeling bad. But I would say that Shiv is probably better than these two melee characters, and probably better than Felix as well, because you do have the dash resets, and if you're hitting everything, you're doing a bunch of damage. And if you're getting wisp or dropping people to wisps, you're healing off of that. There's a lot that you can do with this character, and she's probably pretty strong. Probably for consistency things, I'd put her above these two. But like if you're really good, I mean, this is going to go for any character, but if you're really good at them, they're going to be higher. That's just where I've seen them. I've seen a lot of bad Shivs. I've seen a lot of good Shivs. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put her. Shrike. So I feel like everybody's super split on this character. Some people say she's super OP, and some people just are like the top end players just say that she's like a noob killer or a noob destroyer. The more and more I face Shrikes, the more and more that it's not as much as an issue. Obviously landing and then getting 2 taps is not a very fun and enjoyable time, but if you do get late game, she's kind of useless in the late game. Like she really doesn't do that much in the late game. Her strongest point is like the early game, and you just like 2 tap a bunch of people and you just kind of snowball that. So for her actually having like a strong point on the game, I'm gonna put her on bottom of B. I would have, when I started playing, like this character felt so OP, like I would have put her up in an S when I first started playing the game, but due to recently and playing a lot of games against her and getting more adjusted to her, she's definitely fallen in value. She's probably more consistent than these two characters, Brall and Jin. So maybe she's like middle of the pack B, which is a fine place. Like I think she has her strong points and her weak points, but for two's purpose, I think there's combos that should make Shrike really strong. But for again the character itself, I'm gonna do a twos video later down the road on what I think are really good 2v2 combos. But for right now, that's what I'm gonna use is these two. Or I'm gonna put it right here in the middle of the pack. Void. I actually think people are getting a lot better at Void, and I think realizing his strengths, that he can kind of just like one tap you if you get hit by the ult. If you get stunned, you can literally get Void stunned, ulted, and you're dead. I've seen him kind of ramp up. He's a very hard character to make work, and the way that you have to play with him is a lot differently than almost all the other characters in the game. So for that sake, I'm probably going to put him at bottom of A. I do think he's a very strong character, especially being able to dash over walls and everything like that. Makes him very good, and moving your team across the map is super good and super strong. And he does just do a bunch of damage, especially when you become empowered. Your autos just hit so hard, and then you can literally just, you right click stun somebody, drop your ult on them, and drop your Q, and just keep left clicking them, and you can just one tap them with your Q, and they're just insta dead, and then that's it. a lot of control in 2v2s. I think in 4s it's a little harder to make him work just because you can kind of space create with him. But in 2s, he's definitely very, very strong character. All right, last but not least is Zeph. I have actually not seen a lot of Zeph. He's probably on the weaker end of characters in 2s. I think in 4s he's a lot better. But for the sake of this, I think he's actually probably bottom of C. I think he's not that strong. Every single time I run into a Zeph in duos, I don't think he does that much. I faced quite a few Zephs, but he's kind of not been picked at all. And I just think he just doesn't really do much. Where like Elluna at least has a stun and it can funnel one person and just heal them infinitely. Zeph has that burst healing, but once that burst healing's gone, he kind of doesn't really do too much, and he's kind of just sitting there. And that's kind of it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this ends up helping you figure out what characters you may or may not want to play. Again, you guys should just play whatever you think is the most fun. Go play that character. It does not matter where they are on the tier list. It's super early on in the game. Play whatever you're having fun with and absolutely destroy people. And yeah, if you guys have any comments on what do you guys think I should move people, more than happy to have it in the comments below. And yeah, tomorrow I will be doing a video that will be 2v2 comps, and we'll go over what, you know, god comps are, or what's strong, what's not strong. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See you.